With all the new levels and a new siege, these are the best attack strategies for every Town Hall level. We'll break down each army to help increase your 3-star success. Kicking us off at Town Hall 12 is the Zap Witch, a very reliable and easy strategy to use with how consistent witches are at Town Hall 12. To kick off this attack, we want to first start with the Zap Quake. This is where we're going to use 4 lightning and 1 earthquake on 2 different Inferno towers, bringing a total of 8 lightning and 2 earthquake. Then we're going to use our witches and bowlers and a golem on either side to create funneling. Any leftover troops will be sent in with the ice golems, and then your heroes as well with the log launcher. This is going to create a lane and create funneling so our barbarian king and archer queen are able to enter the base. I do recommend taking super wall breakers in order to open the base up so you're able to get your heroes a little bit deeper in. This is where then I would use the Eternal Tome in order to protect everything as you work a little bit deeper into the base. You can also bring totem spells if you want to protect your witches and bowlers on the flanks, but meanwhile you've got your heroes diving through the core. They're able to deal with the defensive CC quite easily, and you have your hero abilities to do plenty of work, like the queen with her magic mirror and action figure, and even the barbarian king with his spiky ball and earthquake boots. Otherwise, as you continue to work around, you should have witches on the flanks to provide excellent value, while your heroes are mainly getting through the core quite easily. This should very much allow you to move through bases with relative ease and get 3 stars with very high consistency. Moving over to Town Hall 13, we have the Royal Champion Charge Dragons, still a strategy that works incredibly well and is a classic army that you can use in ranked or even just farming. So for this attack, we want to start off with the Royal Champion and her Rocket Spear. Since you don't have access to the Haste Vial, this is the next best thing. Otherwise, you just want to make sure that you are controlling exactly where you want her to go while being able to clear a nice funnel for your dragons while also getting any value that you can, such as the Eagle Artillery and other defenses, possibly even the Town Hall if you're able to. This is why I recommend taking an Earthquake spell in order to activate the Town Hall. But as you're moving towards the Town Hall or any other subsequent defenses, you do want to use your invisibility spells every 4 seconds. This is going to keep your Royal Champion protected and away from damage while continuing to move around the base. Otherwise, you're just using this in order to create a bit of funneling for your main dragon push. This is where once you've been able to clear enough value with the Royal Champion, you can then use the Archer Queen with her giant arrow in order to snipe down any air defenses. This then allows you to use the remaining dragons to start moving right the way into the base. You can use any dragons as well to set up funneling, but you mainly want to make sure that your dragons are moving across the base fairly easily, and you can take a rage spell in order to power them up as they move through the core. You can even use the Eternal Tome and Healing Tome around this time in order to protect as many of them as possible. If you get at a good angle and you can get some good value, the Dark Orb can really shut down large areas, especially things like multi-target infernos, scatter shots, or even single target infernos. This overall should allow you to very easily move through any given section while having relative survivability. Otherwise, the dragons at this point will just slowly move around the base, as you don't have any other spells, so you could time fail with this if you're not careful. But for the most part, you will be able to 3-star more often than not with this strategy, so long as the dragons continue to work around the base, and as long as you have dragons up, maybe super minions up, you should be completely fine for a 3-star. Now for Town Hall 14, we have the Mass Super Hogs. This is still incredibly powerful since the Royal Champion Charge is still incredibly good. Now similar to Town Hall 13, we want to start with a Royal Champion Charge, but instead of doing a long RC charge, we're doing a shorter one. This is where we're using our invisibility spells still every 4 seconds, but you are able to use a few of your invisibility spells to redirect them away, or redirect the Royal Champion to exactly where you want her to go. This allows you to get as much value as possible while you're clearing out defenses. This is where then you could recall her back once you've cleared enough buildings to set up a funnel. Speaking of which, you do want to use the Yetis in order to cut off your heroes so you're able to actually get them right the way into the base. The idea is to create a solid funnel, enough of a funnel for your heroes to move in with the Golem and the Ice Golem. You also have the log launcher there as well, but you can be very patient, like dealing with the defensive CC, and once that is dealt with, you're able to then use your log launcher in order to start powering into the base while damaging defenses and walls in the process. You want to use this to create a lane for your main push. This is why, or for the hero dive. So you've got the earthquake spell in order to damage defenses and walls mainly in order to easily get in. You've also got a rage spell to power up everything, and with the giant gauntlet and rage vial from the king, you can do plenty of work. This is why the log launcher is incredibly good. Now, while this hero dive is going on, use your super hogs. This is a big thing. Do not wait until the hero dive is gone. Use your super hogs once you know the heroes are getting value. That way you can really work together with everything. That way you can also, once you get closer to something like the town hall, you can use the eternal tome to protect everything. You should also use the royal champion's rocket spear around this time in order to get some nice defenses down, while also using a heal spell to top off as many of the super hogs as you can. I do miss out on quite a bit of them, and that could have been better timing and better placement. Otherwise, you should be completely fine so long as you place your heal spell a bit better than I did, but you should be able to overall smash the rest of the base with the super hogs and the super riders just working all around, wizards to provide some cleanup, and overall this should 3-star more often than not, especially here at Town Hall 14. Now for Town Hall 15, we have the Super Yeti Mass Revive strategy, which is still incredibly strong even without the totem spells. So to use this attack, we want to start off with the Dragon Duke on one side. Since we don't have the Angry Jelly, we're going to be using him to funnel. On the other side, we're going to use the Archer Queen with her Magic Mirror and the action figure. This is going to pretty much establish very easy funneling for our main portion. So all the queens on one side, the Dragon Duke's on the other. Obviously, we just have his flame blower, which isn't going to do much, but it'll provide something. This way, we were able to create enough of a funnel in order for us to send in our Super Yetis alongside healers, the Grand Warden, and the Royal Champion. But we've also got the new siege machine here, the Skywagon. The main reason here is to protect the healers, but we are also using the Heroic Torch. This is going to allow us to bypass walls, and underneath a rage, they're going to do plenty of work and still move a lot quicker. The main reason this is great is because the new siege is offering a lot of air troops to protect the healers, while we also bring some additional ground troops, so it's just overall more offensive. This allows us to use more revives on the Dragon Duke to keep him alive, even if there are air troops around there. Otherwise, the Super Yetis are able to very easily move through the base like it's nothing, and the new siege helps a ton in providing additional support. This overall gives us a very strong army that is very difficult to stop so long as you can create really good funneling. And even without the jetpack giant arrow combo, this is going to work extremely well, especially for players who don't have any epics for the Dragon Duke. Moving over to Town Hall 16, we have none other than the Root Riders. They are still incredibly powerful thanks to their new siege machine, the Skywagon. To start things off, we're going to use the Royal Champion Charge. We can use a few rocket balloons in order to control her pathing, but we are going to be using our invisibility spells every 10 seconds. The idea here is to take advantage of the invisibility from the spell and from the Spirit Fox. This is going to allow us to create much better funneling, even if it takes slightly longer than using them every 4 seconds. The idea here is to get as much value as possible with the Royal Champion clearing defenses left, right, and center, while also setting up a bit of funneling for our main Root Rider push. This is where then, once we've used our last invisibility, we can recall her back into the army to be used with the Root Riders. Now we do need to set up funneling for our Root Riders on the other side, where we can use the Archer Queen or Barbarian King with the Snake Bracelet and a few Super Barbarians in order to control the funnel. This is where we then have the Root Riders, the Valkyries, the Grand Warden, the Royal Champion, and our new Skywagon in order to actually start moving in. The Skywagon is pretty crucial here, as unlike a troop launcher, this already comes baked with air troops, so you don't have to worry about any troops. You don't need to really worry about healers being popped off, since you have the Skywagon support, and you also have the Eternal Tome to protect everything as you move into the core. You also have the Dragon Duke over on the back end to clear out defenses and create better funneling, while the Overgrowth can be used to shut down a given area while creating better pathing. This then allows you to actually move into that Overgrowth section once the Overgrowth expires. This allows you to have a really nice push as you move deeper in. Now, for your revive spell, you can either use it with the Grand Warden, like in this case here, especially with the Rage Gem, or with the Dragon Duke. You have a few options depending on how much value you're going to be able to get and how many troops are alive, but for the most part, you will be able to get value from each part of this army, and it's incredibly important that you use that new Sky Wagon just because of how strong it is with Root Riders that already bypass walls and make it insanely powerful, since it already comes baked in with air troops to protect your healers. As for Town Hall 17, we have none other than Hydra, an incredibly strong yet simple strategy that you can use, especially with the Jetpack Giant Arrow combo. Now for this attack, we're going to start very simply with the Jetpack Giant Arrow combo. We're using it to clear out all the value in the core of the base. This basically cuts the base into two, and this makes it incredibly difficult on where you want to send everything in, but at this point, it really doesn't matter. You have your Dragon Duke and the Queen on one side. You can use a dragon and a few rocket loons on the other side before, obviously, you just spam in your dragons. You send in the Warden, the Prince, and of course the dragon and of course the Sky Wagon to move in with the Dragon Riders as well. And you have totem spells to mitigate a lot of damage as you continue to work around. And this overall is going to be complete overkill. Not only do you have the Sky Wagon already providing more air troops, but you've also got that providing additional troops like Inferno Dragons. You also have an Overgrowth spell that you can use to shut down a given spot. You can use the Minion Prince with his Dark Orb to slow down a lot of defenses, especially after reviving the Dragon Duke. But you just want to continue to use your tome spells to mitigate a lot of damage, and that way you can use a rage spell to power up your dragons and Dragon Riders, even if they split away. Otherwise, this army really, it doesn't matter so long as you can get some value with your Jetpack Giant Arrow. Obviously, this is going to create funneling on one side, but you don't need to get the value that I did in order to use this. All you really need is to set up funneling, and you should be able to 3-star very easily. And for Town Hall 18, look no further than Dragon Riders, which are still very strong and basically on par with Hydra with just how consistent Dragon Riders and Totem spells are. So with that said, we're going to be starting with the Jetpack Giant Arrow combo again, this time in the core of the base in order to create a bit of funneling and value for our Dragon Riders, as we're able to remove the defensive CC and a few other key defenses. This is where then we have the Dragon Duke and the Queen on one side. We have a few rocket balloons to snipe down defenses like the fire spitters, and the Dragon Duke is able to deal with plenty of things like the Guardian. This is where, as they follow one side, we've got an Inferno Dragon to cut off the funnel, while we have our Dragon Riders and the rest of our Inferno Dragons right through the middle of our two funnels as they move into the base, where we have the Eternal Tome and Healing Tome to protect everything, including the new Siege, as we continue to work deeper into the base. You also have an Overgrowth spell to mitigate a lot of damage, especially from things like air defenses or even scatter shots. And as you continue to work around, the new Siege is providing additional troops, more than enough in order to counter enemy heroes that hit air, but also just more troops in general behind those Dragon Riders. Overall, as you continue to work around, you can use the Minion Prince with his Dark Orb to slow defenses, the Revive spell for the Dragon Duke, again, as you continue to work around, and just continue to use your Totem spells in order to distract a lot of those defenses. You even have the Inferno Dragons to deal with air heroes like the Minion Prince. And otherwise, you should be able to more often than not dominate with Dragon Riders. They are incredibly strong, and this is by no means that you shouldn't use them only because Hydra exists. Even with the Dragon's new level, Dragon Riders are insanely powerful, especially with the new Siege, and this just makes it a much better option. Now, hopefully each of these attacks will help you in earning more 3-stars throughout the game between Town Hall 2 to Town Hall 18. Otherwise, make sure to check out this video right here if you want to have a guide on the Hydra strategy, but YouTube says you might prefer this one instead.